Hi, everyone. I wasn't asking you if you were Jewish. I was asking you how you're doing. It was the well-known response to a student's response to the question that the interviewer, a venerated Jewish educator and Talmud Chacham, used when he would interview young American students who wanted to attend his yeshiva. It was so simple, and yet already set the tone for the sparring match that would ultimately determine not only the worthiness of the applicant for yeshiva acceptance, but also replacement in class should the student be worthy of admission. I know of many students who had already become unnerved in the first few moments and needed to recover from that educator's sharp retort to his own difficult first encounter because of the critical question. You see, the question was, how are you doing? That's right. The educator would begin his interview by warmly welcoming the students and asking them, seemingly innocently, how are you? You two probably were asked that question hundreds of times in the last year alone. I'm sure you probably answered it in some form of the same manner that hundreds of applicants through the years to that dynamic educator's yeshiva did, with the response of, Baruch Hashem, thank God. And however you might have thought and utilized that response and found strong Jewish pride in doing so, those applicants did not. You see, the teacher used the response of the students, the Baruch Hashem, to encourage precision from the students in their answers. Baruch Hashem was not an acceptable answer to him, as it didn't answer his question. I wasn't asking if you were Jewish, he would smile and say. I'm asking you how you're doing. The funny thing about the feared exchange was that while encouraging students to seek precision in responding to questions, the teacher had actually, at least on the surface, been mistaken. Reciting Baruch Hashem seems to be anything but a statement of one's Jewish standing. In fact, I dare say the first three people who are credited with responding Baruch Hashem weren't Jewish at the time that they said it. True, two of them would have sons-in-law who'd become Jewish leaders, and one might have converted soon after, but neither were Jewish per se, because you see, the first three people who said Baruch Hashem were Eliezer, Lavan, and Yisro. That's right, after Eliezer discovers his prayers for a potential wife for Yitzchak seemed to be answered when Rivka was discovered, he thanks Hashem by saying Baruch Hashem. Soon after, as Rivka went home to prepare a place for Eliezer and his entourage, her brother, who had seen the wealth and prestige of Eliezer, invited him, Eliezer, into the home. And his introduction also begins with the famous two words, Bo, Baruch Hashem, come on in, Baruch Hashem. And the commentaries attach ulterior motives to Lavan's Baruch Hashem, but notwithstanding, he definitely used the term long before there was any Judaism. And Yisro? Well, in the midst of the parsha named in his honor, we find after hearing about Kiryas Yamsuf, the splitting of the Red Sea, and the battle of Amalek, Yisro came to the desert camp of the Jewish people and heard the nation's story firsthand from his son-in-law, who is now King, Kohen Gadol, Navi, and Sanhedrin for the entire nation. And overwhelmed, we read of Yisro's response. Vayomer Yisro, Yisro declared, Baruch Hashem! Asher itzil eschem miad Mitzrayim u'miad Paro. Thank God! Blessed be God who saved you from the hand of Mitzrayim and the hand of Paro. Yes, once again, it was a non-Jew who said Baruch Hashem. It begs one of those applicants to the yeshiva to finally ask that Talmud Chacham, wait a minute, how exactly did I answer you that I'm Jewish by saying Baruch Hashem if the first three people who said it weren't Jewish? But more fundamentally, if the source for saying Baruch Hashem is not Jewish, why do so many Jews utilize it as a almost knee-jerk response to how we're doing? Is it wrong to say Baruch Hashem if the sources for it are all non-Jewish? And if so, why do so many of us put it on the top of our letters and on the tips of our tongue? The Talmud sides with the educator in the Jewish practice. Yes, Jews are supposed to say Baruch Hashem. In fact, the Gemara chides the Jewish nation for not doing so. The Talmud declares, Tana Mishum Rabbi Papias, we learned, and it's stated in the name of Rabbi Papias, Genayu Lamoshe v'shishim ribo shalo amru shira Shelo Amru Baruch Ad Sheba Yisro V'Amar Baruch Hashem. It's a denigration to Moshe and the 600,000 Jewish people who never said Baruch Hashem until Yisro came along and said it. The Talmud's comments even more perplexing. After all, did Rapapius forget Parshas Beshalach last week and the whole Shira that the people sang when they crossed the sea? Why it's a denigration that they sang Shira instead of saying Baruch Hashem? And if saying Baruch Hashem was so important, how could they not say it? Are they not Jewish? Perhaps an answer comes down to an understanding of the difference between a Shira and the recitation of a bracha. You see, Shira is a song of praise. It involves the recognition of the incredible might of Hashem. Indeed, we read in Daven daily that it was when the Jews saw the great hand that Hashem dealt Mitzrayim, Vayar Yisrael es Mitzrayim, Vayiru Hames Hashem. When they saw the great hand of Hashem in Mitzrayim, then Oz Yashir Moshe Ovnei Yisrael. Then they sang. But as Rav Yosef Salanter and Rav Baruch Mordechai Ezrachi both point out, the song that they sang was on the miracle itself. It focused on Hashem's might and energy. Rav Avigdor Nebenzahl adds that the idea of a shira does not add anything to that which has already been apparent in the world. And if I may add, it's like a report of news in a joyful manner, recognizing what's there, but without adding anything to it. You see, bracha is something more. Bracha adds strength to the power of Hashem. It's based, says Rav Ezrachi, on the idea of Hakaras HaTov, on recognizing the greatness done to the person or peoples by Hashem, and the recognition of how that Tov helped improve the world through improving the Kavod Shamayim within it. When Bnei Yisrael left the land of Mitzrayim and crossed the Yam Suf, they most definitely saw the hand of Hashem, and for that they sang. But Rapapius says they failed to extend the Kavod Shamayim by adding to it with the recitation of Baruch Hashem. You know, Rav Avram Schreiber, the famed Ketzav Sofer, adds that while Shira is sung by those who experience the miracles firsthand, it's the recitation of Baruch Hashem when hearing about and experiencing someone else's salvation that should lead to the call of Baruch Hashem. When we hear of the salvation of others, when we empathize with them and recognize the hand of Hashem in their experience, and it brings us to say Baruch Hashem, we're responding the way that Jews are known to have done for years, with a sense of arvut, of interconnectedness and responsibility that increases the Kavod Hashem in the process. That opportunity to offer a Baruch Hashem on hearing about someone else's good fortune was not capitalized by Moshe or Bnei Israel until Yisro came along. I believe herein was the difference between Eliezer's and Lavan's Baruch Hashem and that of Yisro, which was later adopted by Bnei Israel. Within Eliezer's Baruch Hashem, there was still a recognition of his own salvation. He wasn't responding to the salvation of others. It was a shira of his own good fortune. Lavan, Rosh Hashanah Hirsch over there notes that his Baruch Hashem added absolutely nothing. Lavan was merely trying to take advantage of Eliezer, perhaps by sounding frum in the process. We can be most Jewish when we make Baruch Hashem a part of our lives. When we hear of news, good and otherwise, affecting people around us, we ought to look and see the hand of Hashem in it and look to bless it in order to extend the reach of Hashem in our world. It brings people closer to Hashem, starting with the one who gets into the regular routine of looking to say it. However, and this was clarified by the Ger Rosh Yeshiva, Rosh Alter, in a shmuz he offered to the students in the Gush, Baruch Hashem can't be recited in Hebrew the way that hello is said in English. Baruch Hashem, as Yisro recited it, feeling the goosebumps as he relived the stories shared by his son-in-law, means we stop, listen, and feel Hashem's presence as we recognize it in the story that's told. That, Roshal Alter offered, is a way to guarantee that we will increase awareness of Hashem in this world, build emunah, and bring the ultimate bracha to the name of Hashem. And so when we're asked how we're doing, the answer can still be proudly Jewish. We are Baruch Hashem. We are looking, living, and increasing awareness of Hashem and His hand in the world, which increases Kavod Shamayim. What could be better than that? Wishing you and yours a Shabbat Shalom and a Shabbat Shalom to all.